questions and suggestions for me?
Good.
Hey, hello everyone, my name is York, and today the topic of my presentation is the investigation of college students' speaking ability in CLT classrooms in Taiwan. And today I've divided my content into 5 parts, and the first part is the introduction, then is the literature review, then is the purpose of the study, and the following are research questions and methodologies. And it will take about 10 minutes for my presentation, and if you have any questions, you can ask me after my presentation. And then let's move into the first part, is the introduction. And in the past, the focus of language learning had been on linguistic forms. And the representative teaching method, grammar translation, was widely adapted in teaching. And as far as we know, the principal characteristics of GTM are the analysis and memorizing the grammar rule, translation of sentences, and emphasis on accuracy. And this traditional teaching method is still popular in the field of English education in Taiwan, because we know that Taiwan is in a task-oriented learning environment. So in order for students to survive in this kind of learning environment, most of teachers provide a lot of activities like translating, testing, and analyzing the text as their main activities in the classrooms. However, we find that the lack of teacher to student or students to students interaction in the classroom may lower students' motivation to learn and hinder the development of speaking ability due to insufficient practice. Therefore, some researchers suggest that we can use more CLT into the classrooms. However, we are not really sure about what kinds of effect that CLT will bring to our students, and we are not sure about what the students' perception towards this kind of teaching method. So I think this issue is worth to do further investigation.
Good.
And now let's move into the literature review. And in the literature review, I include 3 main issues. And the first part is CLT, and then is the communicative competence. Then is the attitude towards language learning. And according to Richards and Rogers in 1986, CLT starts with the theories of language and communication, and its goal is to develop learners' communicative competence. And what is communicative competence? And we know that grammatical competence is just one small component in the so-called communicative competence. And I think actually to learn a language, it is not enough for us to know how to form a grammatical perfect sentences, but also we have to know how to use and when to use it. So Cornell and Swain in 1980s defined communicative competence in terms of 4 components. And one is the grammatical competence, and the second one is social linguistic competence. And then third one is discourse competence. And the last one is strategic competence. And for the attitude towards language learning, according to Oxford, an active attitude towards language learning may reduce learners' motivation and harm language learning. And actually, the positive attitude can do the opposite. So for the purpose of this study is to investigate the influences of CLT to students' oral performance. And the other one is to investigate the influence of CLT to students' learning motivation towards foreign language learning. And for the research questions, the first question is, what effects does the implementation of CLT may have on college students' oral performance? And the second one is, what are students' learning attitudes towards CLT learning?
Good.
And the instruments that I'm going to use include the performance test and the questionnaire. So for the participants, the target participants of this study are 80 non-English major freshmen and sophomore at Chaoyang University of Technology. And the reason that I choose the non-English major student is because that I have to make sure that they have no previous experience about COT learning. And the reason that I choose the non-English major freshman and sophomore is because I think they have the class that 共同通识英语
Yeah, general English.
Yeah, general English. Right.
Good.
And for the research procedures, first I will conduct a pilot study. And in the pilot study, I will choose one class, about 40 person, and divide them into two groups. And one is the control group, and the other is the experimental group. And after the pilot study, then it comes to the formal study. The same, I'll divide them into the two groups, and I'll give them a pre-test. And for the pre-test, first I'm going to make sure their oral ability. Perhaps they may have speech, and I have to check their attitude towards COT learning. And for the control group, I have to check their oral performance, and the same, I'll give them questionnaires about the GPM. And then for the experimental group, they have to learn in the COT learning classroom for 1 semester. And after that, they may have the final speech test, and in the end of the semester, they will get another questionnaires about the learning perception towards COT learning. And for the control group, they are learning in the traditional classrooms, and then they'll get a final speech test and questionnaires about GPM learning. And for the data that I collect is from the pre and post test of oral performance and the questionnaires. And the way that I analyze my data are through the SPSS and the independent test and descriptive statistics. And that's all from my presentation, and thank you for your listening.